I remember wrapping Christmas presents for my family and thinking that my unborn child was going to miss my favorite holiday, as my due date was January 6, 1997. I had bought a Tickle Me Elmo for the baby that I wrapped with the rest of the presents. When I finished, my water broke. I laughed and said to myself, the baby heard that there was a gift and is coming to get it. In no time, I was at the hospital and had a beautiful baby girl looking up at me. I was so happy because God could have not given me a greater gift like the life of a child. She was happy and healthy, with no signs of any health conditions. We chose to name her Andrea. Andrea's first few years of life were normal. She reached all of her milestones at the correct times. I had always noticed she was extremely flexible, but didn't really pay any attention to it. At the age of 3, I chose to enroll her in gymnastics and cheerleading. She joined with her sister Amanda and enjoyed it greatly. Her teacher told me that she was mastering her classes, but soon Andrea began complaining of pains, so I went and bought her a book called Parts by Teddy Arnold. I used to read it to her every time she would tell me she was hurting. We would look at each other and smile, and I'd tell her, "You're just growing up, that's all." Andrea started kindergarten and was still complaining of pain, which caused her to miss school. Her teacher would tell me that she had difficulty concentrating and focusing in class. I thought this was odd, so it began to concern me. Visits to the doctor became more frequent, and we were always given the same answer: nothing is wrong, even though I could clearly see my daughter was in pain. By the 5th grade, she was again complaining of joint pain, headaches, toothaches, and stomach problems. This again led to her losing something she loved. I decided she needed to stop cheering with her sister. Things seemed to get better for Andrea for a while, until 7th grade, when her teachers were still complaining that she couldn't focus. They recommended an IEP for her, and a few weeks later, she was diagnosed with chronic attention deficit disorder, also known as ADD or ADHD. As Andrea entered high school, her issues seemed to subside, or so I thought. She began taking modern dance and excelled at it. Watching her move so gracefully made me so proud of her. One day, after practice, Andrea did a jump and hit her hip. We went to the doctor and heard the same story of nothing being wrong. At this point, I was getting angry with the doctor for not believing my child. I requested for her doctor to send her to an orthopedic physician. 1 week later, we met with Dr. Cadet, and we were extremely happy. Andrea began to tell him about her life story, and after an MRI, we found out that Andrea had labral tears in both hips. The doctor said all she needed was physical therapy because she was too young for a hip replacement. As a result of this so-called phantom pain, Andrea was missing out days at a time from school. So much that I received a letter from the Board of Education telling me that she was in jeopardy of not graduating. We worked extremely hard to get her back on track. This new doctor brought us hope, and we finally had our happy family back. But that was a short-lived experience. Andrea slowly began to go backwards. I can recall a day where I went to work thinking my daughter woke up and took the bus to school without waking me. A few hours later, my phone rang. It was Andrea. I got really upset and told her that she was just lazy and didn't want to go to school. She began to cry and said, "I'm not faking my pain. I do not feel well. Some days I feel like I'm dying. I feel tired all the time and no one believes me." The doctor again found nothing wrong, and so continued the journey. Due to the complications with school, Andrea began homeschooling. This made it easier for her until the day she reached up to stretch and had severe shoulder pain. We made one more appointment to see Dr. Cadet, and he listened. He came in the room and asked my daughter to stand up and raise her hands over her head, then proceeded to conduct a test. After concluding the test, he recommended that I research EDS. Feeling relieved that she didn't have cancer or MS, I eagerly began to look up EDS. As I read about it, tears started to run down my face. I found out that Ehlers Danlos syndrome does not kill you. It causes other organs to fail and break down. I am so grateful for Dr. Cadet, because without him, I would not know what plagued my baby girl for such a long time. I started this foundation in the name of my daughter to spread awareness and to find genetic testing for all EDS genes. If there was a test for women who are pregnant or for babies when they are born in the hospital for all 6 types of EDS, I would have never put my daughter in gymnastics, cheerleading, or dancing. I felt very guilty that I sped up the process of her joint hypermobility syndrome. Andrea has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, type 3. Age of 19, Andrea looks perfectly fine. Patients would most likely have to go through painful and extensive procedures before being diagnosed with EDS. This is what makes EDS so deadly. This invisible disease slowly kills inside with chronic pain and dislocation of the joints. My daughter cannot work, lift anything over 10 pounds, walk a mile, or run without feeling terrible pain and fatigue. If you have read my story and have been touched, please support this website by donating and helping us find a test to diagnose, and then a cure. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my story. Please feel free to write your own story as well on my website. Andre and I would love to read it. We must unite to find a test for all 6 types of EDS, and then a cure. Thank you.